Have you ever wondered what happens when a person already has everything, yet still wants more? This is the story of a king who had wealth, power, and respect, but his greed consumed him and led to his downfall. A story that teaches us greed blinds the eyes, deafens the ears, and destroys even the strongest. Long ago, in a land surrounded by golden fields and great rivers, there lived a king named Varun. His kingdom was the richest in the region. Markets overflowed with grains. Traders from distant lands brought silk and jewels, and the people lived in peace. King Varun sat on a throne carved from a single piece of jade, with gold embedded in every corner of his palace. His army was vast, his treasury full, and his name spread far and wide. But despite all this wealth and power, King Varun was not satisfied. Every morning, as he gazed at his overflowing treasure room, he whispered to himself, "This is not enough. I must have more. More land, more gold, more power." His ministers often tried to calm him. "Your Majesty, the kingdom prospers, the people are happy. What more do we need?" But the king only frowned. "Happiness is temporary. Power fades. Only endless wealth can give me security. I will not stop until I own everything under the sun." And so, greed took root in his heart. One day, a traveler arrived at the palace. He was no ordinary traveler, but a wise sage, with eyes that seemed to hold the secrets of the universe. The king welcomed him with respect and asked, "O holy man, tell me, how can I gain more wealth than any king who ever lived?" The sage looked at him calmly and said, "Your Majesty, be careful what you ask. Greed is a fire. It does not fill you, it burns you. If you chase it endlessly, it will consume everything." But the king pressed further. "Tell me the way. I will not rest until I am the richest of all." Kings, the sage sighed and gave him a strange gift, a golden bowl. "This is the bowl of desire," said the sage. "Whatever you put inside will disappear, and in return, it will demand more. Fill it with gold, jewels, or food, it will swallow it all, never satisfied." The king's eyes sparkled with excitement. "At last, with this, I can gather infinite wealth." The sage tried to warn him. "Remember, Majesty, this bowl reflects the hunger of your own heart. It will never be filled. Only wisdom can stop it." But the king ignored him. At once, King Varun ordered his servants to bring bags of gold and pour them into the bowl. To his horror, the gold vanished instantly. He added jewels, silver, and pearls, but still the bowl remained empty. "Bring more," he roared. Soon, the palace treasury was emptied, yet the bowl still shone with hunger. The king sent soldiers across the kingdom to collect wealth from his people. Farmers were forced to give their harvest, merchants their goods, families their savings. Day after day, cartloads of riches were poured into the bowl, and day after day, it swallowed everything. The people began to suffer. Markets grew empty, fields lay barren, and children cried from hunger. But the king cared for nothing. "I must fill the bowl," he shouted, his eyes blazing with obsession. His ministers pleaded, "Majesty, the people are suffering. The kingdom is weakening. Please stop." But he silenced them with anger. The once prosperous land became dry and broken. What was once laughter in the markets turned into silence. The neighboring kingdoms, once afraid of Varun's power, now saw his land weak and empty. Armies invaded, villages burned, and people fled. Still, the king clutched the bowl, throwing whatever little remained into it. His palace, once shining with gold, turned into a hollow shell. His soldiers deserted him, his ministers vanished, and even his family left in despair. One night, the king sat alone in the great hall. The bowl glowed before him. Still hungry, he was thin, ragged, and broken, yet his eyes still burned with desire. "Just a little more," he whispered. "Just one last treasure." But there was nothing left to give. He looked around the empty hall, his trembling hands clutching the bowl. Finally, in desperation, he whispered, "Take me if that will fill you." And as he placed his hand inside, the bowl shimmered and the king vanished. The next morning, when the sun rose, the throne of King Varun was empty. The bowl too had disappeared. All that remained was silence. Part 5. The moral 1701 to 20 o'clock. The kingdom, leaderless and broken, slowly rebuilt itself under new rulers who learned from the tragedy. They realized that true wealth was not in endless gold, but in the happiness of the people. In justice and in peace, the story of King Varun was passed down for generations. A warning carved into the walls of the palace. Greed destroys everything. A heart that is never satisfied will lose all that it has. So, what can we learn from the greedy king? Wealth and power may bring comfort, but unchecked greed will consume even the strongest. A kingdom without compassion is doomed to fall. True success lies in balance, gratitude, and wisdom, not in endless desire. Remember, greed is like a cup with a hole, it can never be filled, no matter how much you pour in. And that is why we must treasure what we have instead of chasing what we don't.